Nor was curiosity awakened by Amway's phenomenal U.S. revenue increase from $4.3 million in 1963 to $169 million in 1976, an increase of 3,800%. The question as to why almost 200,000 people a year would sign up to gain average retail profit of less than $3 a week before expenses from selling laundry soap seemingly did not occur to Judge Timoney or Commissioner Pitofsky. The two antitrust lawyers showed more concern about mythical retail pricing and allowing Amway to compete with Procter & Gamble, which the judge called an oligopoly. Flaming red flags. For every red flag of deception and a pyramid scheme cited by the FTC staff attorneys in the original complaint or during discovery, Amway had a, quote, business or, quote, direct selling answer that persuaded the judge. These red flags included false income claims of lifetime residuals, sudden and extraordinary growth, promises of great income based on duplication and multiplication of recruiters recruiting recruiters. 3/4 of the newest recruits quit within 1 year. Overall annual turnover rate of 50 to 60% of all participants, yet the hundreds of thousands of departing recruits left no repeat retail customers behind for the new ones to build upon. Month to month, revenue tracked directly with recruiting levels, and average revenue per recruit remained constant. All recruits signed sales contracts, though they underwent no formal sales training, and no evidence was offered that most ever sold any product at all. Only 25% of the entire sales organization gained any of the lucrative recruiting-based bonuses, and most of them made almost nothing. Yet a few at the top of the recruiting chain received enormous payments. Largest expenditure of the company was for payments to recruiters. Business was said to be based on retailing, but retail selling was not company verified, company managed, and the company did not compensate for retailing. Recruiting chain had no territorial restriction, and every salesperson was encouraged to recruit more salespeople. Yet all were told market areas could never have too many salespeople, and the company advertised an extraordinary income opportunity, but in fact, virtually no participants gained any net income. Psst, buddy. The Amway story to recruits that it is a direct selling business run by pious and conservative executives offering opportunity to sell household products served as an innocuous and plausible introduction, but it was the plan that would later be explained, the one invented by Mittinger and Castleberry at Neutralite, and which Amway copied, that enabled Amway to make the electrifying claim it had special access to unlimited rewards it could offer recruits. The plan was the basis on which Amway could make the astounding promise of wealth beyond imagination. These are claims that no other direct selling company could plausibly make. The cruel rigors, the human limits, and sheer loneliness of real direct selling were all too well known. This direct selling business story provided the rationale for soliciting enormous numbers of marks to sign sales contracts and charging in advance for sales kits based on an income proposition. This was the equivalent of what legal scholar Arthur Left called the "psst, buddy" approach. The story also convinced the judge that although almost no recruits ever made a net profit, Amway's extraordinary references to unlimited income were not callously deceptive and capable of causing a mass mania. Rather, in the tradition of Dale Carnegie courses, these references were merely inspirational and motivational. The FTC agreed with this, and the commissioner affirmed the view that, quote, generalized income claims by Amway were not misleading, calling them vague puffs, which few people, if any, would take literally. The Green magistrate had apparently never attended one of Amway's opportunity rallies, seen the expressions on the faces of attendees, and watched the ecstatic responses to Amway's income promises. He was apparently unaware of the hysteria an unlimited income promise can produce. This was the same fanaticism historically associated with the famous tulip mania, periodic real estate bubbles, gold rushes, and other popular delusions. In 2004, NBC Dateline took hidden cameras into Amway recruiting events, including a mass rally in South Carolina. More than 10,000 people gathered in a huge darkened auditorium. Each attendee held a lighted candle as they followed an Amway promoter in a thunderous chant. Freedom! Freedom! Flush that stinking job! Based on Amway's claim to offer them unlimited income, the recruits were exhorted to quit, flush, whatever work or profession they were doing. From my own experience running a consumer education website for 19 years and serving in more than 30 court cases, I have personally and repeatedly seen instances of MLM victims divorcing spouses, neglecting children, and bankrupting themselves and their families in the quest for the unlimited income that Amway and other MLMs promised. Some have committed suicide as their dreams were not fulfilled, and they had flushed all other career pathways and social relationships. In the final ruling of the Amway case, 1979, Judge Timoney dismissed the entire phenomenon, later to be identified by cult experts and psychologists as, quote, undue influence and mind control, and by others as the classic big lie. Wikipedia defines the big lie, quote, a big lie is a propaganda technique. Adolf Hitler coined the expression when he dictated his 1925 book Mein Kampf about the use of a lie so, quote, colossal that no one would believe that someone, quote, could have the impudence to distort the truth so infamously. Judge Timoney, and then the FTC, accepted Amway's claim that business was not based on rewarding recruiting, but on retailing, even though Amway increased payments to recruiters per transaction based on increased recruiting. Any experienced door-to-door salesperson in the tradition of Fuller Brush or Avon of that time would likely have seen the model as unworkable as a retail sales business and would have found the incentive to recruit your own competitors in your own sales area incomprehensible. Experienced salespeople in any field would quickly see the entire pay plan was oriented to recruiting, because the high incomes, indeed any net income at all, could only be gained from recruiting. The contradictions and impossibilities of Amway's story were fully grasped by the government attorneys, led by FTC staff attorney Joseph Brownman. In the initial complaint filed in 1975, FTC attorneys had argued the obvious, quote, the greater the number of distributors or dealers previously recruited, the lower the chance of a profitable distributorship or dealership operation. Apparently, the FTC attorneys did not believe that it required significant explication. They did, however, support the premise with carefully gathered research data showing saturation in the specific areas where Amway recruited. In 1970, the U.S. Census showed 71 million households. In 1977, at 360,000 salespeople currently enrolled, each Amway distributor would therefore have had less than 200 households on average to recruit or even to sell to. Factoring all the millions unable and uninterested to buy and more than 1 million ex-Amway distributors, the true per capita market for the hapless new Amway recruits was pitifully insufficient. Even Amway's own disclosed data showed massive losses in turnover at the lower levels of the chain and extraordinary rewards gained by the few at the top. Just as Neutralite's attorneys had baffled the FDA with diverting disclaimers while still managing to promote its potions as miracle cure-alls, Amway's attorneys led Administrative Law Judge Timoney and Commissioner Potofsky into a rhetorical labyrinth, linking infinite expansion to free enterprise and turning the doomed pursuit of income in an endless chain scheme into an American dream story. Timoney's ruling and the FTC's affirmation, written by Commissioner Potofsky, established an entirely new economic paradigm, a legalized pyramid scheme. Under this newly ordained model, previously viewed as prima facie fraud, based on its physical and commercial impossibility, financial rewards could be legally promised to paying participants based on the astonishing claim of a genealogical marketing chain that extends forever and is capable of generating money to all who join without limit.